Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to VHS. I'm your host, Jesse. Today I got an important question for you. Do you have a favorite movie from growing up? One singular movie you love above all others? It spoke to you in a way other movies never did. Other people shrug at it and you think, fine, more movie for me. But my question, friends, is does your favorite movie hold up to a modern viewing? Well, I'm about to find out. It's the Hollywood Hold Up, featuring my favorite movie of all time, True Romance, only on VHS. This is your friendly neighborhood spoiler warning. I basically have this movie memorized, so I'm not going to be slowing down as I go through it. Spoilers. Before we get started, let's say a quick hello to producer Craig, who has been doing a great job on the channel so far. I'm told I'm not allowed to actually watch the videos. And now, the movie in a minute. Like, really. We're going to put up a graphic for this. I'm presuming, I'm just telling Craig this is happening, and we haven't discussed this before, but I have a stopwatch here on my phone, and I'm actually going to see if I can get the whole story of True Romance out off the top of my head in 1 minute. True Romance, go! Clarence, comic nerd, going to the movies. His boss knows he's going to be there, so he hires a prostitute as a birthday gift. What a weird boss! But the prostitute, Alabama Whitman, falls in love with Clarence, and Clarence falls in love with her. They talk movies. They have great sex. The next day, they straight up get married. But we got a problem. Alabama doesn't have any stuff. Where's her stuff? Her stuff is with her pimp, a guy named Drexel, who's a really bad character, and we got to go get it back. Alabama doesn't want to get it back.
This isn't a good idea.
Clarence, for some reason, needs to get it back.
Can you live with it?
So he goes to Drexel's and starts off a whole bloodbath. Clarence escapes somehow. He gets a suitcase full of Alabama's clothes. Oh, but they open the suitcase and it's not clothes, it's cocaine. Oh no, we got a problem. But Clarence has a solution. His buddy Dick Ritchie in LA knows Hollywood people. Hollywood people do cocaine. So we got to get out to Hollywood, sell the cocaine, and get away from all the crappiness in our lives. But the crappiness comes after them in the form of cops and the mobsters and Floyd's lack of attentiveness. And it all ends up in a crazy Mexican standoff in a hotel in Beverly Hills before we head off to the sunset. Woo, no problem. Now on to the categories. Category 1, an ode to Bonnie and Clyde. Ranked. Clarence and Alabama are a clear analog of the prototypical romantic crime duo Bonnie and Clyde. It's a great tradition of storytelling cliche that can trace its roots all the way back to Romeo and Juliet. But where do the Whirlies of True Romance rank in the pantheon of Bonnies and their Clydes? Honorable mention, Mickey and Mallory, natural-born killers. So these two are nuts. In fact, they are so off-the-rails goofy in their romantic mayhem that they bounce themselves right out of the top 5. Honestly, the only reason they get this close is that they were once part of the same Tarantino spec script as Clarence and Alabama themselves. Let's all thank the universe that that movie was never made. Lula and Sailor, wild at heart. Laura Dern and Nicolas Cage are nothing short of electric as Lula and Sailor in David Lynch's nightmarish thriller, Wild at Heart. I really don't want to say too much about Wild at Heart if you haven't seen it, other than dog's got a hand, Willem Dafoe's barely got teeth, and the whole thing's an analog for The Wizard of Oz. So good luck with that. Bonnie and Clyde. Why am I saying this twice? For me, this movie is sliding into the territory of historically crucial and out of the territory of must rewatch. But you gotta give it up to the OGs. I would like to point out that the trope of a romantic crime couple almost never gets off the ground here, because the original script for Bonnie and Clyde portrayed Clyde Darrow as a bisexual, having a relationship both with Bonnie and their getaway driver. However, director Arthur Penn took that element out of the film because he thought it would make audiences of the day write off Bonnie and Clyde as sexual deviants. Apparently back then that was a turnoff. Holly and Kit, Badlands. Listen, I'm not going to be your one-stop shop for Terrence Malick praise, but I gotta give Badlands its due. As much as we point to Bonnie and Clyde as the starting line for this trope in movies, Badlands is where the archetype takes root into modern filmmaking and is the most direct ancestor of True Romance. It introduces Sissy Spacek's wistful voiceover, letting you into Holly's mind, and the playful score which counters the brutality of the killing spree. both of which are directly referenced, and to my mind improved on, in True Romance. Thelma and Louise. Hey, you're not going to fool me again. For anyone disoriented by this entry, Thelma's the Bonnie in this film. Louise is the Clyde. It's a great twist on the trope. Not lovers, but best friends. I love a lot about this movie. Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis are undeniably great as this iconic pair. The emotion is real and it is earned. But I mentioned in the Ridley Scott tier list video, link to that description below by the way, that there's one problem with the plot of Thelma and Louise.
None of this bullshit is necessary.
Well, I wouldn't say that, Drexel, but we really could have used Sam Jackson here.
You smoke enough sherm, your dumb ass will do a lot of motherfucking things.
Not that one. The one from the negotiate. Yeah, that one. To step in and cool things down before they got out of hand. Didn't nobody have to go off a cliff for no self-defense? Clarence and Alabama, from this video. Some will say this whole list was nothing but a setup. They'll say that. Some will question my character. Some might even declare,
You know, I knew something must be rotten in Denmark.
We know something's rotten in Denmark.
Rotten in Denmark.
Rotten in Denmark.
Wait, Tarantino used the same joke twice in this script. And it's my favorite movie of all time? Wow. Well, I'm far too upset to defend myself, so Clarence in Alabama for life, son. Category 2. To be or not to be? Yes, Quentin Tarantino wrote this script. No, the movie does not end the way he wrote it. Yes, that's why it's great. I'm sure you remember, but if you don't, the original script has Clarence dying in the shootout. Alabama escapes, has her son, and then goes off to a life of crime, which we know because...
Alabama. I haven't seen Bama over a year and a half.
That's right. Eventually, Alabama ends up pulling a job with Mr. White before he heads off to the Reservoir Dogs jewelry heist. But that never happened, and it's all thanks to Tony Scott. Here's Tarantino from the True Romance DVD commentary.
The closest thing I ever came to a Mexican standoff with Tony Scott was about the end. He wanted to change the ending. And I remember coming to him very impassioned and saying, Tony, don't change the ending. Don't, not for commercial bullshit reasons, you know.
Now, here's what Tony Scott told him in return. And it's basically exactly how I feel.
Tony was able to combat me very passionately on his own part and say, Quentin, I am not doing it to make it a Hollywood movie. I am not doing it to try to turn it into something it's not. I want to do it. It's not for commercial reasons. It's not for Hollywood reasons. I want to do it because I love these two kids and I want to see them get away.
Whew, I could not agree more. I love this movie because I love Clarence in Alabama. I'm not interested in discovering a world where the final thesis is just go f*** yourself. I want to see these losers f***ing win. This is why Tony Scott was a great filmmaker. If Clarence dies, it's just another crime film bloodbath. But because Clarence lives and these two trash pandas finally get a friggin' break in life, the True Romance is a masterpiece. Thanks, Tony. Category 3. Lightning in a Bottle.
You live here?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, whatever. He's funny. Floyd's fun, we get it. But really, there are only two things you need to know about Brad Pitt in this movie. 1, he turned down the role of Clarence because he just played a similar-ish part in California. Does not hold up, by the way. And 2, he found that hat on the street, thought it would work for his character. Not kidding about that. Not kidding. This film is one of the greatest casting coups of all time. Not just because of its big names like Hopper, Walken, Kilmer, Oldman, but also because of the deep bench of character actors who are better here than in any other movie.
Elliot, do I look like a beautiful blonde with big tits and an ass tastes like French vanilla ice cream?
What?
Christian Slater. Christian Slater is better in this movie than anything else in his career. And for me, it's not even close. It's like Clarence is the perfect crux point between Slater's natural characteristics and the heightened fantasy of a Tarantino character.
Okay, one hint.
One hint. Here we go.
Patricia Arquette. Great actress. Been great in 100 things. Even so, I think she is so much better as Alabama than anything else she's done. She is Alabama. So much so, it's almost like Patricia Arquette is a different actress with a different career, and Alabama that's Alabama. Her voiceovers slice right through me. Her drive to escape her meager life and find true love in a desperate world is the beating heart of the entire story. Without Patricia Arquette, there's no movie. Saul Rubinek. Rubinek is great in a lot of small roles, but his portrayal of studio boss Lee Donowitz is what you call singular.
What's this one called, anyway?
It's a sequel, Body Bags.
Really?
So we don't have a title yet, but what is Joe like?
Body Bags 2.
Ooh, that's imaginative. Got more taste in my penis.
Bronson Pinchot. Yeah, Cousin Balky. You remember Cousin. That's what I'm talking about. Cousin Balky is in True Romance. Only he's like,
so, you got $500,000 worth of cola that you're unloading for $200,000.
You want an animal cracker?
and then he goes, and there's a little bit of this.
What's the matter with you? I'm sorry.
James Gandolfini as Virgil. Holy shit, this scene. I mean, Gandolfini's a genius. I don't know how, but in the middle of one of the most brutal fights I've ever seen captured on film, he manages to slide a little pathos into the mind and character of this monster?
Now I do it just to watch the expression change.
It's crazy. Paul Bates of Coming to America fame as Marty. I got one question for my man Marty.
It ain't white boy day, is it? Oh man, it ain't white boy day.
Oh. Category 4. The scene.
I know you know where they are, so tell me. Before I do some damage, you won't walk away from.
Could I have one of those Chesterfields now?
Is this the best acted two-handed scene in movie history? Meaning centering on just two actors. No way, right? But then again, maybe? But listen, this is the Hollywood holdup. So let's talk about an issue that this scene raises, frankly, with all of Tarantino's scripts: the liberal use of the N-bomb and other racist language. Tarantino himself has stated multiple times that his characters, especially in the early crime films, are from a harsh street world. And this is how ugly their language would be, and he's not going to take the words out of his characters' mouths. Now, it's up to each viewer whether or not to accept that for themselves. But for me, I've taken his position to heart. The shared world of Tarantino's films is an ugly one, full of selfish, violent people. And that ugliness does bother me as a viewer, even in my favorite movie of all time. But that feeling of not liking the ugliness in Tarantino's world is part of what drives me to root so hard for Clarence in Alabama to escape it. As for the walk-in Hopper scene in particular, it's clear that while Dennis Hopper's character is likely a prejudiced a-hole in his own right, he uses the racist implication of his historical knowledge because he knows it will infuriate the Italian mobster, whom he rightly presumes is also a prejudiced a-hole. It's still ugly. It's still a completely racist concept. But if it's gonna get you a quick death from the mobsters instead of, the other kind of death, I'm not gonna spend too much time being mad at you. Category 5. Top 5 takedowns. Let's finish with some fun, shall we? Everyone loves the huge Mexican standoff in Lee Donowitz's hotel suite at the end of the movie. So many people eat it so fast. It's a pulse-pumping scene for sure. But which of these incredible on-screen demises will top our chart? Number 5. This cop. This is my absolute favorite death of a nobody character in this sequence. There's a bunch of cops, a few gangsters that we don't know that just kind of pour into the room. And this guy, the framing of this cracks me up. Because he comes, sure, there's a bad guy shooting him over there. But in this scene, he seems to run in and almost take a shot at this. Look at this. He almost takes a shot right at the chair. Boom! Take that, chair! But guess what? Take that, human! He unloads one shot into the chair, then the chair just gets revenge and takes him straight out. Number 4, civility. I understand we're all trying to kill each other here, but is that any reason for the ethnic teasing?
I said to come out from behind the couch, okay? Capiche?
Number 3, our old friend, the suitcase full of coke. I just feel like it's been a really long journey and he didn't ask for any of this. Number 2, Clarence's depth perception. That's a shot. That's a shot right there. Because you're not. What are you going to do? You going to spread it around? That's what you're going to do, Alabama? You can wipe it up. He's still not going to, he's still going to run into walls and stuff. There's no way he's getting 3D back. Number 1, Dick Ritchie's dignity. First of all, Richie's the one who sacrifices the suitcase full of cocaine for no reason, just as a distraction to get his butt out of there. Watch this. Throws it up in the air. It's totally cruel. Doesn't care what happens to our friend the suitcase. I can't watch it again. I can't watch him get destroyed again. Look. Here's your hero. Here's your Hollywood type. Here's your best buddy. Run, you coward. Run! The verdict. Come on, man. You knew what it was when you clicked the video. Of course, I think this movie holds up. So I don't want to waste your time. Instead, I'd like to invite you all to come meet me in the comments and tell me if true romance doesn't work for you. And then tell me who hurt you. I'm gonna find them. Season 2 Preview. Instead of our usual recommendations, let me take this opportunity to spread some hype for our next season of the Hollywood Holdup. It's our sequel season, which means it's sequel season. Hey McFly, you Bojo! Those boards don't work on water unless you got power! Now was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized. And this is Max, and Max kills cops for a living. Do, Ray, Egon. Ducks fly together. Ducks fly together. No time for love, Dr. Jones. And there you have it. The Hollywood Holdup featuring my favorite movie of all time, True Romance. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you love a movie the way I love this movie. I hope Floyd pitches in for once in his goddamn life.
You condescend me, man. I'll kill you, man.
And I hope you never forget.
You're so cool.
Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you want to support the channel. It really means the world to us. And come back and see us next time. We live here, only on VHS. Take 'em home, Craig.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Oh, and please like and subscribe. Check out more of our videos. Leave a comment. Or don't. You do you.